All right, so welcome in, everybody. Just got a few people joining, so that is awesome. Before I dive in, does anybody have any questions or thoughts or struggles or shares or wins they'd like to share? If you discover that you have a question along the way, feel free to interrupt me. The group is still small enough. I mean, we're getting a little bit bigger now.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Do you know the impossible meatballs, the impossible meat? Is that because it's plant-based, is that um, something that would be acceptable as a protein, I guess? I don't know.
Um, I am not a fan of fake food. I think it's more opinion than anything, but the first thing I'm going to say is what's in it. So when you look at these Impossible or what is it, Glory Farms there's different ones, the fake meats, but they put in their fake blood and they put in their just all kinds of things. They might have breadcrumbs, which could be gluten. They might have soybeans, which is soy, which is not recommended. They might have other regular beans, which the first 12 weeks is not recommended. They have methyl cellulose, which is could cause diarrhea. I would say stick with a lean chicken, or even if it's a lean grass-fed beef. I'd rather see you eat that than the fake foods. You know, people eat those fake foods for a reason. Some of it's climate change and all of that stuff, but I would challenge anybody to, I shouldn't probably say this, but like, there's factories that are making it, so they're still leaving a carbon footprint. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
If your reason is because cows are causing the world to die.
Right.
Everybody has a different reason why they're doing that, but I would say stick with the real thing. But if you don't want to hurt an animal or something or whatever reason, look at your ingredients list, and if it looks really clean, then it probably be okay. For now, take a picture of the ingredient list and send it to me, and we'll
Okay.
go over that together. But I love that question because, and that's what I talk a lot about when I do the label reading class. Plant-based, is plant-based food healthier? Sometimes. It's just like the word natural, all natural. Sugar is all natural. So is snake venom, but so I like Pam's reaction. So all natural doesn't always mean it's better, but it's natural. Um, so that topic I did in January, so that probably won't come up again till mid-April. But like label reading and those kinds of words, oh, plant-based, is that better or not? Generally speaking, plants, a lot of them are healthier. Vegetables are going to be your biggest bang for your buck, but I can't hear, so I can't talk. It's really affecting my speech. Um, but it's you just got to look at your ingredients. Plants are generally speaking healthier, but not all of them. So,
Thank
great
you.
question. Anybody else? I'll try to talk my way through this. My ears are still really, really plugged. So, all right. So let me share. All right. So these are a couple of people that have gone through the program. So I just thought I'd post those up there. I haven't done that in a while. But this week, our topic is going to be exercise. I'm going to go over the different modalities, which is best, Why would you do one over the other? Or should you separate them? Should you do them at the same time? What's the deal? I'm going to go over the deal. I've been a certified personal trainer for over 20 years, along with all my other certifications. I thought I had another year, but I have to renew this year. And I'm really upset about that. Because it's more money and it's just more classes that I have to take, which the classes are always interesting, but anyways. So let's go ahead and get started here. We'll do some shout outs, some welcomes, and I found some funnies. I'll go into cardio. I'll go into strength training. We'll go into high intensity interval training, talk about flexibility, and then we'll decide which one is best. And then we'll save time, of course, for Q&A. So some shout outs. Lynn, I talked to Lynn. She said she feels absolutely fabulous. She's feeling really great. She's down 11 pounds. Ginger, who has just started, she literally just started, and she's down 6 pounds. Beverly, I love her attitude. She's already done with her 12 weeks. She did some continuing classes with me, but she continues to suit up and show up. She's trying new recipes. She's trying new things at the gym, all kinds of stuff. And she said this is becoming her new normal. So really, guys, attitude is everything. So pick a good one. And I just wanted to shout out to Beverly with such a fabulous attitude. We want to welcome in Danny, Trisha, Doug, Chris, Tawny, Phil, Olivia, Eldon, and Monique. So welcome into all my newbies. Hopefully some of you are here today or listening. All right. Why did the gym goer get arrested? She killed her workout. Why did the man get arrested at the gym? He asked someone to check out his guns. Take me to the gun show. Let's see. I had another one here. All right, I guess that's it for today. Anyways, all right, so let's jump right in. So, all right, so let's start off with cardio. What is cardio? Well, basically it's anything that gets your heart rate up, and it can be, but not limited to, fast walking. Now, I put this one on first because this one I get almost every day, several times a day. You guys are fabulous at filling out your check-in sheet, but under activities, and it gives you some suggestions, walking with purpose or whatever. And walking is great. Walking is a fabulous start. But if you're walking your little dog who stops at every single little bush, is your heart rate coming up? It's cardio is anything that gets your heart rate up. So nothing wrong with walking your dog. You're getting sunshine, you're getting fresh air, you're bonding with your dog. Maybe you're going with a friend or a neighbor or a family member, and you're bonding with that other person. So walking is absolutely fabulous. But is your heart rate coming up? That is the question. And then are you tracking it? You don't want to compete with anybody else except for yourself last week. So if you are just walking for 15 minutes and you get your heart rate up to a certain number, maybe next week you want to try and get it up a little bit higher, or see what you can do to make it go, to improve it. Of course, I had to put dancing on there. That's one of my favorite activities. And that, because I dance, I don't do cardio, but I get a freebie because I dance. So I just get cardio. So that's a blessing for me. So find something that feeds your soul. If hiking in the mountains, looking at all of God's beautiful nature, the skies, the beautiful rocks, the plants, the wildflowers, the beautiful cactus here in Arizona, any of that stuff. Jogging, biking, hiking, as I mentioned, anything that's going to get your heart rate up. These are aerobics, Zumba class, anything that gets your heart rate up. And what I would say is you want to track and measure. So how do you do that? I could take you down a whole rabbit path or rabbit hole of how to figure out your heart rate, but I'm just going to go over today the simple math. The simple math for fat burning zone is 180 minus your age equals your target heart rate. So if you're walking your little dog, so say because I'm 60, so if I take 180 minus 60, that's 120. If I'm walking my little dog, chances are I'm probably not getting my heart rate up to 120. And that's just information. That's just going to tell you, oh, my ear popped a little bit. Oh, thank you. I can hear a little bit better. Yay. But if the goal for me would be to try to get my heart rate up to 120. If you're brand new, you've been sitting on a couch for 40 years, don't expect to get there out of the gate. That might be way too much. This is target heart rate. Target meaning something we're aiming for. It might be in the future. It might be next week. It might be next month, 6 months, whatever that is. But it gives you something to go on. So if you're wearing like a Fitbit or some kind of heart rate monitor, you can track it. So if you walk for 20 minutes every day on the same path, track and see what your heart rate is doing. Now, technically, if you're doing the same thing on the same level, maybe it's highs and lows, but if it's the same exact highs and lows, it's the same block. You say you're going around your block and there's a high and a low, or an elevation and a decline. And your heart rate is a certain number. The more you do that, the stronger your heart gets. The stronger your heart gets, the fewer beats per minute your heart is going to have to pump the certain amount of blood that it needs. It's called stroke volume. I know it's kind of boring stuff, but for every pump, a very healthy heart will pump a lot more blood. So it doesn't have to pump really fast to get all that same blood. So if you're doing the same exact thing over and over again, track your heart rate because it should be coming down. You're doing the same exact thing. Your heart should work less hard with those big giant pumps, pumping way more blood. So that's one way you can track your progress. But if you just say walking, if you're not tracking your heart rate, there's a good chance you're just getting fresh air and you're really not getting anywhere, any progress in your cardiovascular health and wellness. Why would we do cardiovascular exercise? Well, obviously a stronger heart and lungs is probably a good idea. Oops. Reduced risk of heart disease. Every time we do a cardiovascular exercise, it stretches the veins and arteries, and it makes them more elastic. When we don't do any kind of cardiovascular exercise, those veins and arteries become stiff and hard, called atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. Try saying that 3 times fast with your head plugged up. But this is why it is very important. So it works the heart. It's a muscle. We don't work it. You don't use it, you lose it, right? But it's also great for those veins and those arteries to stay elastic. It increases your metabolic rate. You will burn more calories while your heart rate is up. It's usually during that 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes or however long you're doing your cardio. And then there's what's called afterburn. So it's sometimes 30 minutes up to an hour after you've, say, jogged on the treadmill or jogged outside or done your hike. There's that afterburn that you're burning those extra calories. Your metabolic rate has gone up. However, after the afterburn fades, your body goes right back to its old normal self. So cardio is great for burning calories right here, right now. You ate something you shouldn't eat, or your calories were too many, go burn 500 calories, do an extra cardio. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it will go back to its normal old self once your body's heart rate comes back. Cardiovascular exercise is really good for mental alertness. Think about how much circulation you're getting going. Your heart rate is beating a lot faster. And so with that, your blood is circulating throughout your whole body. It's going to all of your cells, including your brain cells. So your brain is getting that extra oxygen and your brain is getting those extra nutrients. So it can absolutely improve mental alertness. So again, cardiovascular is very important. Can reduce blood pressure. Again, we're stretching those veins and arteries. So we're allowing that blood to flow through. The blood pressure doesn't have to be so tough. If those veins and arteries are stiff and hard, the blood pressure goes up because it has to pump a lot of blood through a tiny little straw versus where it can, if it needs to, expand and the blood pressure goes down because it doesn't have to work as hard to get that blood through. So it can help with blood pressure. Improve circulation and detoxification. Obviously, if your blood is circulating more and faster throughout the body, every single cell is going to get that oxygen and nutrient base that it's going to get. Also, detoxification. When we're doing cardio, typically we're going to sweat. Sweat is a form of detoxification. What gets underrated is also your breath. If you're breathing heavier, so like if you go to a mirror and you kind of fog it up, all that fog that's on that mirror, all that moisture from the lungs, that's toxins from your lungs. So if you're breathing heavier, you're also detoxifying through your exhalations. So you're getting some extra detoxification too. So that's another good reason we want to do cardiovascular exercise. And it burns calories right here and right now. So again, absolutely, there's a lot of reasons. Also, I don't think I have on here, it also helps sleep better, and it also produces your feel-good hormones. You've heard of a runner's high. Usually you get it after you're done. Sometimes once you get past the hard part, especially if you're jogging or pushing yourself way beyond your comfort zone. Me at my age, with my body, with my back, with my hips and my knees, I don't run. If I were to do a treadmill, it would just be uphill, but I don't like the impact of running for me. So there's lots of different ways to do it, as I mentioned. All right. Yes.
And you're right here. I was about to ask it, and you might answer it, but when I'm doing strength training and I have my watch on, it's strength training, it's weights, it's not cardio, but my heart rate
Oh,
goes
hell yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then kind of strength training is a kind of form of cardio as
It
well?
certainly can. It certainly can. And I am going to address that a little bit.
Okay.
But track it. Try to do like bicep curls or tricep curls. The triceps are here, biceps are here, which are smaller muscle groups. Check your heart rate.
Yeah.
And you'll say, oh, it went up a little bit. Now work your legs. Your legs are your largest muscle groups, especially your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes. Those are giant, giant muscles. Then check your heart rate. Those are such large muscles. There's a lot of muscle to pump a whole lot of blood to. So it has to go faster.
Yeah.
To pump enough blood to those muscles so they can function and do the thing that you're asking it to do. So
your heart
I had a yoga team. Go ahead.
Sorry. So then your heart rate will actually go up because the muscles are bigger, is what you're saying? That the bigger
if
the
you're
muscles,
working your larger muscle groups, it's definitely going to go up. If you're working two muscle groups at the same exact time, like
legs and
like if I did a squat and then overhead press, squat. So I'm working my arms and my shoulders and my legs. The heart's going, wait a minute, I got to pump extra blood to the legs and the arm and the shoulders and the arms. And anytime you raise your hands above cardiac level, which is here, cardiac level, your heart has to work hard because it's going uphill. So, but if I'm just working like a lunge with a lateral raise, I'm working two muscle groups, the heart rate definitely will go up because it's going, oh, I've got to send blood to the shoulders, I got to send blood to the quads, I got to send blood to the glutes. It's going all over the place. I got to send blood everywhere. I got to go.
Yeah.
So definitely it will. It's not as impactful as doing actual cardio, depending on your goal. If you're doing cardio for endurance versus cardio for weight loss, or just cardio to burn a few extra calories, I'll talk about that next in the high intensity interval, what that looks like. But good point. Yes, it does increase. It will also increase your blood pressure, which sounds contraindicated, but high blood pressure in certain situations like that is recommended, unless you have a heart problem and you need to discuss that with your doctor.
Right, right.
But yeah,
Very good.
good point. And good question. All right. So what is strength training, resistance training, weightlifting, like the lady in the blue shirt? Here, she's just taken some regular old dumbbells, overhead chest, shoulder press, military press. So that's what weightlifting is. Body weight exercises, the guy in the corner here doing his push-ups, using your own body weights, lunges, squats, crunches, side lunge, pull-ups, push-ups, anything where you're using your own body weight. That's great. And that's why I love yoga, because it's primarily using body weight. Someone's asking a question. Does anyone else cut out on these Zoom calls, or is it just me? Everybody's shaking their head no, Monique, so I'm sorry. It might be your internet connection. I have not cut out. Sometimes I do, and you guys have probably all experienced it, but that's, I guess, the land of internet or lack thereof. Let's see. Resistance bands. This is that lady up here with these, looks like strings, but I love these things. As a personal trainer, when I used to do in-home training, this was, my weapon of choice, because it was easy to travel with. And they hide under the bed well, they hide in your suitcase well, they hide under the couch even well, so they don't take up any room, they're not heavy. But there are a million things you can do with these things, and there's lots of ways that you can make them more and more and more and more challenging. So she only has one red string, but and then you hook it to the handles. If she was to add another band to it, now she just made it harder. And there's different color bands with different levels of difficulty. And every brand is different. Typically, yellow is the easiest, and then green is usually the next easiest, and then blue, and then red, and then black is harder. Sometimes the red is the hardest, but it depends on the brand, but it will usually tell you a number. It'll say 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. It does not mean you are lifting 20 pounds, because it depends on how far. Like if I attach it to the door, if I step back 3 feet, it's going to be a lot harder to pull than if I'm closer 3 feet. So it's just it's a way for you to know which one's more difficult or more easy. But this is something you can keep at home. And if you're on our program, you can go to our website in the member section, and I've given you a whole plan as part of the program. And resistance band is the only equipment that you'll need. Yoga or Pilates. I'm a huge fan of yoga. It changed my body like no other exercise has. Just now, in all fairness, I was writing my first book, and all I was doing yoga. So I was very immersed in eating right. But yoga and yoga is primarily doing two things. There's strength training, body weight exercises, or there's stretching poses. And a lot of times it's a combination of both. So yoga is just, I'm a big fan of it, and you can do it anywhere. You can even do it on a beach when you're on vacation. And that I recommend. Just face the ocean and just get your yoga on, get your stretch on. Follow a little YouTube on your phone if you don't know what you're doing. But I'm a big fan. Pilates is primarily strength training for legs and core, but you're using a lot of your other body parts. So by all means, look into those as well. All right, so what are some of the benefits of strength training? Now, I know you guys, look at these bodybuilder types, you know, and here's a lady over here. She's very muscular. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, who I worked with at the last gym I worked at. This is probably her. But you have to be in the gym a lot and very likely taking the illegal stuff to have these kinds of bodies. And as a woman, to look like her, you probably, I'm not saying my friend was doing stuff, I don't think she was, but to look like this guy and this girl, you'd have to be in the gym a whole lot. So don't be afraid to do your strength training. So it helps you gain lean muscle or maintain your lean muscle. In the place I am in my life, I'm not looking to change anything in my body. I'm looking for maintenance. So I'm at the place where I only spend about 30 minutes in the gym. And that's kind of it. Unless I go to yoga class, and they're usually an hour. That's a different story. But my strength training, if I'm doing just chest day, 30 minutes of just chest is plenty. I'm sore. Or 30 minutes of legs, you're going to feel that. So don't feel like you have to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym. You really don't have to. If at first you're really looking to make some huge changes, yeah, you might have to do a little bit more. But once you're on maintenance, you're just going to be in there for maintaining 20, 30 minutes. As long as you're focused and kind of have a good plan, you're going to be fine. Obviously, you have increased strength. We all want that, especially when we're running through the airport and they've just informed you that they've changed gates or changed terminals or changed something that's far away, and you've got your 2 carry-ons and your stuff and you're trying to run across the airport. That's where your cardio and your strength is going to help you. So they're both beneficial for that. Here's another one. We have a lot of clients, all age ranges from 18 and all the way up into the 80s. However, if you're over 40, keeping and maintaining and improving bone density is a thing. And when we squeeze our muscle, it pulls on the muscle. And the more muscle we have, the more pulling of the muscle that we have, the more it maintains bone density, which is, it's so important. It seems like something far away, like bones, we can't really see them. But as we age, think of your bones like a retirement account. But your body went on retirement somewhere between 35 and 40, and it's withdrawing. It's withdrawing minerals we may be eating healthy, but it's still doing the withdrawal. So if we're not doing the other things to maintain our bone density, like strength training, those bones can become weaker. So strength training is very important for that. Strength training is very important for controlling body fat, and it will speed up your metabolism. The more lean body mass you have, the faster your metabolism works. The more lean body mass you have, the faster you burn calories while you're sitting, while you're sleeping, while you're reading a book, while you're taking a nap, while you're watching your Netflix binges. And particularly can really help with belly fat. It changes, but strength training can change your body composition. So just keep that in mind when you don't feel like it. This is really important. It also helps decrease injury and helps with healthy joints. When we're strengthening those muscles around the shoulders and the hips and the knees, it can strengthen that joint. So, you know, and when we throw a joint out, when that shoulder goes out, when that knee goes out, when that hip goes out, or even your spine, that's a problem. And we don't even realize how much we use our shoulder or we use our knees until it's out. And then we can't do anything. So and start slow. Don't start with the heaviest weight in the room, but don't be afraid to graduate and move heavy. Like I mentioned, it burns calories 24/7. All right. So let's see here. All right. So high intensity interval training. I have what's called a Tabata app, and you can get that for free at your app store. And traditional, typical Tabata is what high intensity interval training is. Heart rate comes up and then you let it come down. Heart rate comes up and then you let it come down, which is technically one of the best things you can do for weight loss. However, I don't recommend this as a starter. Get your strength training, get your form right on your squats or on your presses. Don't let the elbows come too far back. Different things on your squats. Keep your knees in alignment with your ankle. Always, once you get your form right, and now we're doing something a little bit faster, that's called stepping it up. But I don't recommend a beginner start here, but this is what it is. So it's heart rate comes up and then you let it rest. And it doesn't have to come all the way down to low 70s, but let it at least drop, into the 80s or at least low 90s, wherever you are. But the traditional Tabata is 20 seconds work, 10 seconds break for 8 cycles. That's only 4 minutes. So if you only did 4 minutes a day, trust and believe, if you're doing this for squats, or this lady these are called battle ropes, where you're pulling those ropes, 20 seconds of that 8 times is a lot. Talk about getting your heart rate up. So if you're a beginner, the Tabata app, you can change the rest time and you can change the work time. So as a beginner, you might go 20 seconds work and 20 seconds rest. It's going to add up to a little more than 4 minutes, but hey, that's where you're at, if that's where you're at. But again, that app is free. It tells you when to start and it tells you when to stop. It usually counts you down. There's different ones out there, but most of them are free and perfectly fine. So you could do this on a treadmill. You can kind of go uphill if you're not doing running because you don't want the impact. So you're either going uphill for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. And then you put it right back down to level, or you slow down to a walk and you let your heart rate slowly come down. When it comes down to where you can talk again, then you do it again and you raise that elevation, or you raise up your speed, or you're outside, you're going up and down, go fast, walk slow, go fast, walk slow, that sort of thing. Again, you can do Tabata with squats. You could also combine it. So say you're at the gym with these battle ropes, for example. So you might do 20 seconds of battle ropes, take a rest for 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds of squats. So it's a strength training, but if you're going fast, like Pam, we were just talking about, your heart rate will come up. You'll be out of breath just doing that. And then you get your rest, go back to the battle ropes. So now you're working really good cardio and also some strength training. Again, you may need to adjust your rest time because only an athlete's going to be able to tolerate something like that. But that's like future, like aim towards goal, what you're aiming towards. Don't expect to be that out of the gate. It could be jump rope, it could be jumping jacks, the punching bag, you punch right for 20 seconds, rest, and then rest, or punch left for 20 seconds, rest. And if you're kind of bouncing around and doing the thing, that's kind of a fun way to do it. And I always say, play your favorite music that inspires you, that makes you feel good, or play a motivational speech while you're doing that. That'll just, especially if you're doing the punching, you will feel so strong, and it feels good. Once you get going on stuff like that, it feels really good. Kettlebells. This lady's holding a kettlebell. I don't know if she's doing a squat with a lift. There's a lot of things where you're kind of swinging it up and down between your legs. Go to YouTube if you have a kettlebell, and you can use that in Tabata as well. Just maybe kettlebells for 20 seconds, and then go to your squats for 20 seconds, back and forth. Oh, and then the battle ropes. That's what this lady down at the bottom is doing. Does anyone have any questions on what high intensity interval training is? All right, so let's talk about the benefits of that. All right, so it can burn a lot of calories in a short period of time. So you're working your strength, you're working your heart. But here's a little graph. It shows like how traditional workout is. It's in the gray, but the red, it really gets your heart rate up, and then your afterburn lasts longer. So you're going to continue to burn calories long after you finish that workout. Plus, if you included strength training in your high intensity interval training, you're also building that lean muscle. So eventually your calorie burn will go up 24/7, not just the next couple hours after your workout. Like I said, your calorie burn rate is higher for hours after. Can improve your oxygen consumption. What is oxygen going to do? Oxygen gives you energy. Oxygen feeds your brain. Oxygen feeds every cell in your body. And so the more circulation we have, the more your blood provides so many things. It provides oxygen, it provides nutrients. And with those two things, that causes healing. So if you do have a shoulder issue or something going on, when we're getting lots of great circulation, that blood is pumping to all the areas of your body, and including your injured areas. So you're going to have some healing a lot quicker as well. Again, it can reduce blood pressure and eventually reduce your heart rate because your heart's going to become stronger. Like I mentioned, when your heart is stronger, one pump is going to put out a lot more blood volume, stroke volume, versus a weaker heart who has to pump a bunch of times to do the same amount of blood. So this really can help with stroke volume, which means you've got a healthier heart. It can also help reduce and regulate blood sugars. You know, I'll be talking about in the next week. Yeah, next week I'll be talking about fat burning foods and how to get there. But getting your blood sugar stable is all about maintaining a healthy weight, or getting those blood sugars stable will help you get that healthy weight. So definitely a good benefit to this. But if you're a beginner and just exercise has just never been on your radar, please don't start here. Start with some strength training, you know, a little bit of cardio, track your heart rate. All right, so flexibility training, benefits of that. It helps decrease your injuries. So sometimes we react. We go to reach for something. You see something going to fall. Somebody hit the vase, and you lean forward and you bend over and you pull your hamstring, or whatever. You know, we've all done stuff like that. But the more flexibility training that we practice, the more we have within our joints, hamstrings, you know, any joint, whatever you're practicing. This lady down here is doing a twist. She's keeping her spine flexible. Your spine is the gateway to everything in your body. This is a very detoxifying stretch down here. The lady in this black on the blue mat. Very good for, again, detoxification and keeping her spine flexible. Can reduce injuries. It helps joints move through full range of motion. If we're sitting, not moving much all day, every day, and like I said, we go to do something by a reaction, that's how we snap tendons and tear tendons and hurt the connective tissues. So by practicing and they're saying you should practice it every single day, just a few minutes, at least 5 to 10 minutes every day. I don't even know that I do that. Almost, but not, I even need to pay more attention to that. It increases blood flow. Again, stretching also works your muscles. And that's why I don't think a lot of people realize that it's actually working your muscles as well. It enables the muscles to work more efficiently. The more flexibility we have, the higher pain threshold we have to be able to lean forward and touch our toes, stuff like that. It improves the quality of your life and daily activities. And as a group exercise instructor, I've seen, I used to watch the people would finish the exercise. I used to teach kickboxing and all that kind of stuff back in the day. And, it comes time for stretch, a few of the women would leave, and it's like, no, stay for the stretch. That's the most important part. And you want to do it when you're warm. Don't come in out of the cold and start trying to reach your toes on the first try. You really want to move into it slow. If you're reaching for your toes, take a breath, inhale, exhale, reach. Oh, that's as far as I can go. Hold here for a few moments. then do it again. Inhale, exhale, reach a little more. Maybe you can get an inch or two closer, but don't bounce. Don't bounce. That's how we break things or snap things. All right. So who wants to take a guess at which one is best? Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
Probably the high intensity.
Okay, so let me ask that question again. Like, how do I say that? I would say best for weight loss. That answer is correct. But I guess I'm kind of trick questioning you because they're like children. They're all special and they're all very good. And you have one child that's very artistic and one child that's very loving and one child that's just so outgoing and funny and one child that's just as smart as a whip and you know they're going to become the president of the United States or something really fantastic like that. But they're all very special. So cardio, you know, burns calories right here, right now, but we talked about how good it is for your heart health and how it can even feed your brain. Your strength training is good for your muscles and good for maintaining body weight, but it also helps with bone density. The high intensity interval training, yes, probably the best thing you can do for weight loss, but don't start there. But flexibility training also really important for quality of life. So I can't really say one is better than the other. For me, I tend to lean towards strength training, but my lifestyle enables me to do that because I do dance as my fun hobby thing. So I'm already getting cardio. If I didn't dance and didn't hike or didn't do anything like for fun, I didn't go to Zumba class or have a dance class or whatever, then cardio is still very, very, very important. So. But good. Whoever answered that, good for you for trying. Extra bonus points. Oh, I didn't have a, guess I did. Sorry about that. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or theories, or anybody want to share their exercise routine, or anybody need have a question about how to up level their routine?
I'm taking
I
a
have a
class.
question. Go ahead.
Pam, let's start with you.
It's a very different question. If someone has a strength or what we're talking about here, let them go ahead. But it's a quick one, actually. It's about vitamin D. Remember how we discovered it's important to take it first thing in the morning because it'll keep you awake at night?
Yeah.
And it's a fat soluble
Yes.
vitamin. And
Yeah.
so what I didn't know is that it's best to take it with fat in order
yes.
for it to be absorbed to, you know, its potential. That part I didn't know. I was just taking it in the morning, but I understand that you're supposed to have it with a fat.
That's
in order for it to
100% right. And that's why I tell people to have a fat at every single meal, because the fat can help reduce cravings because you can't absorb fat soluble vitamins without the fat. Fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, and K. So if we're not absorbing all of our wonderful vitamins, we had all the rainbow of colors of us in our salad, for example, but we had no fat with it, we're not going to get those vitamins. So now the body thinks it didn't get nourished. And now I want something. I just want to eat. I don't know why, but I want to eat. So that is an excellent point, and you're 100% right. So you want to take vitamins with food, but if you're having a fat at each meal, that works out just fine. So if you're taking it at breakfast time, maybe you had a couple of eggs with egg yolk, which is a healthy fat, or put some avocado in your egg whites, or cooked your eggs in some avocado oil or butter or whatever. Yeah. That way you're going to absorb your vitamin D. So great point.
What if the first thing in the morning, and I go to work out, so I don't actually eat. That's another question.
Wait for breakfast to take your vitamins and including your vitamin D.
So just delay it maybe 3 or 4 hours in my day. I'll probably have to play around with that because,
Do
but
you not eat for the first 3 or 4 hours?
kind of in a way, I get up and have water, maybe a lemon water before the gym, do the gym, and then by the time I get home, shower or start preparing, sometimes it's around anywhere from 10 to 11 where I'm having my first meal. So for me, I wanted to take my vitamin D first thing in the morning before the gym because I don't want it to be in my system too much into the night.
Yeah, no, have it with your first meal. It's not going to keep you up if you have it at 11 or whatever.
Okay.
That's a whole nother topic because what it sounds like you're doing is intermittent fasting. If you don't even eat till 11, which is fine, but I wouldn't recommend that every day because the body adapts.
Right.
And you stop making progress. So if once in a while you start yourself at least with a shake and throw some either avocado or coconut oil blended in your shake, there's your fat. Now you can have all the vitamin D you want.
Before the gym?
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to take anything before the gym. It makes me feel not great. I definitely perform better on nothing in my stomach. So what I did, just because I just found out a few days ago, I took a teaspoon of coconut oil and I put my 2 vitamin Ds and I took my spoonful of, and that seemed to be fine for the gym and it seemed to be fine
That'll
for the
work.
fat.
That'll work.
Okay, good.
That's good.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
You also got some calories. You started your metabolism. So
Exactly.
I like that.
Okay. Excellent. Good.
Very,
Thank
very,
you.
very good. Now I'm happy with that answer. I was not like, how do I do this in a group call? Because I want to talk to you. But now we come to a happy medium, so I'm good with that.
Right. Thank
So
you.
someone else started to say something and I couldn't see who it
Yes.
was at the other question.
Belinda, I'm taking a class and we use the bands, and then we also use a small ball, and we do a lot of overhead stuff with the ball and squeezing the ball like this.
Mhm.
It's a good workout. I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. And when you raise your hands over your head, if you're bringing your ball side to side or whatever, I'm not sure what kind of ball, if it's one of those bigger balls.
No, it's a little.
Is it weighted?
No, but it's
But you're
squeezable.
still going overhead. That forces your heart to have to come up. Anytime your heart has to go uphill, like pushing water uphill, the force has to be a little bit stronger than water going downhill.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Do
Yeah,
you feel like your heart rate's coming up?
I think so. I'm gonna be more
See if
aware of
you
it
can get it
next
like
time.
a Fitbit or some kind of heart rate monitor. There's new apps every day that I had a client years ago, and she would put her finger, I think, on the camera part, and it would tell her heart rate. And this was back when I worked at Total Woman, 2010, 11. So that was 14-ish years ago. So there's got to be more stuff now, but that'll be something for you to just watch and see, because that way it'll challenge you to keep
Harder.
up.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else?
I have another question. Sorry. You mentioned right at the end, don't bounce. Don't bounce when you're doing your stretching.
Yeah. So there's primarily the most common types of stretch is static stretch and dynamic stretch. Dynamic stretch is like you see baseball players are swinging their arms around. This is dynamic. You can do that. I wouldn't say out of cold. If it's really, really cold, march in place, get your heart rate going a little bit, and then dynamic or swinging your leg back and forth. That's dynamic. If I'm sitting on the floor or even standing, and I'm going to try to reach for my toes, I'm going to go as far as I can go and then hold. But to bounce, that's how we break stuff. That's how we tear connective tissue. So now I'm holding, and then I take my breath, inhale, exhale, a little further, inhale, a little further. You know, you're kind of gradually getting yourself there. And then hold it for between 10 and 30 seconds.
And what's that second one called? The first one was dynamic. What's the
Static
second
is
one?
holding, static is still, and dynamic is movement. You know, you're just kind of rolling your shoulders around. But don't do any of those things until you've moved a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we
Okay,
wake
no,
up in the morning, we sort of stretch, we do that thing. It's kind of if you watch an animal, a dog or a cat, they wake up
right.
and they stretch. It's just, that's one thing. But if you're trying to like come try to touch your toes and your hands don't even get toward your knees, obviously you have tight hamstrings, don't be trying to bounce and get farther. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. If it's painful, back off. If you feel a stretch and it kind of feels like, ooh, that's a good stretch,
Yeah.
that's a good place to be. You might challenge yourself a little bit more, but don't get to the point of pain, then you want to back up if it's painful.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone says if anyone is interested in mat Pilates, Move with Nicole on YouTube is amazing. That sounds pretty good. And it sounds like you probably don't even need any equipment, I'm guessing. Because I've taken
No.
Pilates classes, so.
Yeah, no, you don't need any. And she's from Australia, so her accent is just awesome.
Oh, that just makes it nice.
Bonus.
I love that. I love that. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all coming here and being a part, and your questions and your comments and your shares. Really, really appreciate all of that. Your participation means a lot to me, but trust and believe your participation means a lot to anybody else here live or listening to this as a replay, because I can guarantee you if you're thinking it, they're thinking it too. So if I haven't cleared something up, there is no such thing as a stupid question, because somehow you missed it. So somehow somebody else is going to miss it too. And there's people that have been with me for months and months, and sometimes some of y'all been with me for a year or more. So you may have heard it 10 times, but there's always that somebody out there that hasn't heard that yet. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. Ask away, and I appreciate all of your participation. So thank you for that. And with that, I guess I will say goodbye.